Well, today was the day we got the opening statements and a little bit of testimony as the trial for former President Trump criminal case kicked off here in New York City. Prosecutors say that he, quote, orchestrated a criminal scheme to corrupt the 2016 presidential election. He says he did nothing of the sort, and that the trial itself is a form of election interference because he is obviously the nominee for the GOP and should be in the middle of a campaign right now. Kerri Kupec Urbahn is here, Fox News legal editor and former counselor to Attorney General Bill Barr. Kerri, always great to have you with us. Thank you for being here today. You know, it's very interesting, the prosecution on this case, because they went back and forth. Bragg almost took up the other case, the real estate valuation case, which was a fraud case in New York, but decided to pursue this one. And when he did, an interesting attorney came on board late in this whole process, Matthew Colangelo. Tell us why we should know about Colangelo's role in all of this.
Because he held the number 3 spot at DOJ, which is maybe the most coveted spot at the Department of Justice outside of Attorney General itself, because typically that job is a straight path to becoming a corporate bigwig, making a lot of money. It's considered very elite. So for him to step down from that, to go work for a local prosecutor in New York on this case, it says something. I think it says that he's got to be a pretty true believer, and this is personal, if he wants to get involved in this.
Now, we hear over and over that from the Trump side that this is all orchestrated from Washington, orchestrated from the White House. We know the DOJ didn't touch this case. They didn't take it up. But then this number 3 left the DOJ and went up here and is one of the lead attorneys on this. And you say it's surprising that he's so face forward on all of this.
Yeah, I actually almost jumped back in my seat today when I was sitting there when I realized he was the one presenting opening arguments. And I thought, oh, wow, they're not concerned at all about how this looks. Which is not entirely surprising, though, Martha, given how all this has gone. The judge in this case donated to Joe Biden in his campaign. And I said this recently, it's not the amount of money that he donated, which was small, but the fact that he did it at all, because he knew these cases were percolating in New York. And typically judges resist getting involved in anything political because they know it'll undercut their credibility, any decision that they issue. So the fact that this judge decided to go forward with that donation and the one to stop Republicans, which is some group, I think says something as well.
It's amazing. You know, you would think in that position as a judge, you would want, even though these are elected roles, you would want to be as clearly above board as possible and not ever make a donation to anything political. So obviously he had no fear about that at all. What about the fact that they wrapped today at 12:30 because one of the jurors had a dentist appointment? And we know that former President Trump would like to go to his son's graduation in a few weeks, but he hasn't gotten the approval for that.
Right. So the juror, I think, had a toothache, which anyone who's had one understands how hard that can be.
Uncomfortable that is.
Right. So the judge closed court early for that juror. But yes, that's immediately what I thought of. I thought, so you can easily move the schedule for a juror's dentist appointment, but you can't tell the former president of the United States that he can attend his son's high school graduation? Come on.
So you say that this judge you see is not treating Trump, any differently because of his former status as president of the United States.
You know, what's troubled me about this case is, there's this whole like, no one's above the law. That's a good sentiment. Of course, we all agree with that. But what frustrates me is there's a lack of balance but we also need to respect the fact that this man won the 2016 election, represented the United States, was the leader of the free world, and was a former president of the United States. That deserves respect.
Kerri Kupec Urbahn, always great to have you with us. We're going to need you a lot in the coming months. Thank you. It's great to see you in New York. Thanks, Kerri.